I gave up the best meal I'd saved for all week, and the next morning a man in a suit knocked on my door with paperwork, a promise and my name written like a headline. I'm Malik Carter Riverton, born and bred 17 when this started, smelling like fryer oil from Pop's Grill and lemon soap from the dish pit, walking the long way home because I only ever had bus fare one direction, hungry in the stomach. Sure, but hungrier for a life where the bills didn't laugh at us when they came through the mail slot. Mornings at our place didn't need an alarm. Grandma Etta's up before the sun humming those old church songs, while the kettle clicks and the house on Maple Avenue leans like it's tired flaking. Paint-taped windows, floors that remember every step. She keeps it spotless anyway, because she says poverty isn't dirty, it's just loud. And I lace up the same shoes, check my pocket, like it's a ritual, one bus ride. The rest is faith and asphalt. Lincoln High knows me as the kid with straight A's who smells like pancakes. By third period, Ms. Alvarez keeps shoving scholarship flyers into my hands. Says my essays sound like the truth, even when it hurts. And I nod because money talks, and we don't speak that language. You know what I mean? That Tuesday night, the rain hit Pop's windows like it had a grudge, neon buzzing, coffee hissing, Mr. Novak. Everybody calls him Pop, forearms like tree trunks, rules like commandments. Walking the line with that don't ask me to comp anything look. And me finally sliding a tray to the edge of the counter. Burger and fries I'd saved 3 days for no soda, no snacks. Walked both ways. The kind of plate you stare at like it's a finish line. Then I see them at table 7 by the window. Older white couple soaked to the bone, the woman hugging a leather folder to her chest like a life vest. The man with pale blue eyes that can size you up without moving. Tia floats over with refills, sets down the check with that careful voice that says, I want to help. But I also want to keep my job. The woman empties her purse, then empties the seams of the purse. Nothing. The man pats down pockets like he's searching for dignity, Mr. Novak. Lumbering over, not cruel, just math. We can't comp meals, folks. I'm sorry, the woman offers collateral papers, her husband's watch. Pop shakes his head. Rules keep the lights on, and they stand to go back into a storm that looks like it eats people for fun. My hand was on my tray, but my feet were already moving. Hey, hold up, sit down, eat, please. I slide the plate in front of them before I can talk myself out of it. The old man watches me like I'm a chess move. The woman's eyes water. Sweetheart, we can't take your dinner, you worked for that. I shrug. My grandma says kindness multiplies. Besides, I can walk it off. Tia sets down fresh coffee like she'd been waiting for permission. I ask her to call Duke's Towing from the back phone code of broke folks, helping broke folks, even when one side is wearing a coat worth a month's rent. We talk while they eat. I tell them my name, he says. I'm Victor, this is my wife Elaine. Then he asks questions. You don't hear from stranded travelers. What do you want to study? Malik, what's your neighborhood missing? And I just say it. A clinic, so folks don't have to cross town to treat a cough that gets expensive. Fast, a place where the dead mall on Briarwood turns into classrooms and kitchens and life. He listens with those eyes that make you honest without threatening you. That leather folder keeps flashing a gold seal that teases my memory, like I've seen it on the 6 o'clock news. Duke rumbles up in the tow truck, and in one breath, Victor changes posture, straightens voice tight, as thread, money's not the issue. Do whatever it takes, and I blink, because 20 minutes ago, he couldn't find cash for pie on the way out. He squeezes my shoulder, son. You gave us more than food tonight. We don't forget that. He writes my name on a napkin, slow, like he's engraving it, tucks it into his coat, like evidence we'll be in touch. And it doesn't sound like courtesy. It sounds like a promise from a man who only makes promises he keeps. After they leave, Pop slides me a fresh burger and a slice of apple pie like a judge overturning a sentence. You earned 2 dinners tonight. Eat, I say. I can't, he says, respect isn't charity. And I chew while Tia leans in with that look. Duke said their Mercedes started right up like a cable got pulled, then put back, and that old man had a wallet thick enough to choke the jukebox when it was time to pay. You ever feel like the world is either setting you up or setting you free and you won't know which until the credits roll? I walk home in the rain like a baptism that forgot the joy. Grandma listens, asks about silver hair and blue eyes and a fancy seal on a folder, turns up the news and says sometimes angels test us dressed as people. I say, Grandma, they weren't angels. She pats my hand and says, maybe, maybe not. Bring me pie next time your heart outruns your stomach. Next morning, the intercom cracks Malik Carter to the principal's office. I don't get called to Dr. Chen's office, ever. Kids stare like I'm trending through the glass. I see them before I see him. Victor and Elaine, dry and perfect folder open on the desk, the gold seal winking. Hawthorne Trust, and now my memory sits up straight. I've seen that logo next to numbers with more zeros than anything in my life. Victor stands, and the whole room adjusts to him, Malik. Thank you for dinner, I manage your... Victor Hawthorne. He smiles. People like to say philanthropist. I prefer investor, especially when the investment is character. Elaine turns the folder, and it's my life lined up, neat grades, attendance work hours at Pop's notes from Ms. Alvarez that read like she's been guarding my name, even a photo of me walking Mrs. Thurman's groceries to her porch. I ask how he says we've been in Riverton 3 days, evaluating candidates for a project. Your name kept coming up, the car was staged. The missing wallet was never missing. What you did was the point. What we did was the test, and I feel it in my throat, part anger, part awe. You lied to me, he says. We created a scenario. There's a difference, Doctor. Chen tells me to hear them out. Elaine slides new papers. Here's what we're prepared to do, full scholarship, anywhere accredited. Housing books the lot, summer internships with their team. And when I graduate, a job assistant director at a community hub. They're building at the Briarwood site clinic, computer labs, job training library, commercial kitchen, 25 million. Over 5 years, Victor says we don't parachute in and leave, we partner. We need a local leader who understands both the hurt and the hope I can feel. The lines on the blueprint turn into veins, a map back to my neighborhood, with better lighting. Still, that taste of the test lingers. What if I fail, I ask, because the question has slept under my bed for years. Then you'll fail, trying to help, Elaine says, and that's courage practicing. Victor's voice softens last night. Nobody watched but your conscience. You gave away your dinner. That's why we're here, not for pity, for partnership, Ms. Alvarez catches me in the hall later and says, stop arguing with your own blessings. Yeah, that happened. 18 months later, the Riverton Community Hub throws morning light back at the sky glass and steel, where pigeons used to hold PTA meetings. The clinic calls Grandma by her name before she has to gasp for it. The computer lab hums with second chances. The culinary program smells like rent, paid on time. Big Ray gets certified and hired kids fill GED classes so fast our flyers can't keep up. Pop shows up to the ribbon cutting and pretends not to clap. Tia doesn't pretend, Mr. Novak pulls me aside. You putting a coffee kiosk in there, kid? I tell him we'd rather run one through small business training and let one of his line cooks own it. He grunts, good answer. Don't get cute, serve decent coffee at decent prices, and people will forgive anything else. Not everyone claps a developer in a gray suit, corners me one afternoon, says, You're 19, Met. Men with experience handle 9-figure projects, and I tell him I'm 19, and I know what a $9 copay feels like. Then I walk away with my hands shaking, because shaking is still moving forward. You know what I mean? 2 years in my title says director, and my days say student success doesn't fit in spreadsheets. Some folks think the hub's a miracle. Some think it's a trick. Some call the Hawthorne test a rich man's game with better PR. And I still replay the diner and feel heat in my chest. Was it fair to lie to a kid to measure his honesty? I don't know. I do know the lie pressed on a truth I already believed, that what you give away is the only thing that comes back stronger. One Thursday, near closing, Tia calls. There's a young family at Pop's car, trouble, no cash. 2 little ones, tired and hungry. I don't need a speech. I set 2 plates on their table. This one's on me tonight, they protest. I smile. My grandma says the only debt that matters is the one kindness creates, because you spend it by passing it on while they eat. I listen. Construction experience, childcare experience, no references that count in rooms where everybody pretends they never started small. I give them my card tomorrow. Come to the hub. I can't promise today, but I can promise someone will say your names out loud and mean it later. Victor calls and asks how I'm measuring success. I look out at a courtyard full of neighbors choosing purpose over boredom, and say the numbers are good, but the return is immeasurable. He laughs and says, I knew you'd say that. And I tell him, yeah, well, you taught me the equation, and the town taught me the proof. So that's the story, a burger. I didn't eat a napkin with my name on it, a test. I didn't sign up for a building that belongs to the people who sweep its floors and write their first resumes at our tables. Victory didn't come with fireworks. It came with a steady light. You can read by, and I'm still here learning how to keep it on. Now tell me straight, was that test right, or just rich, fair measure of character or manipulation dressed up in philanthropy? Have you ever been judged for being poor, for being young, for being the wrong kind of brave? Drop a comment, argue with me, defend them, call me out. Tell me what you would have done at table 7 when the rules said no and your gut said help anyway. And if you believe small kindness can crack open big doors, hit subscribe, and share this with the one person in your life who swears the world is cold. I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm saying together we can turn the heat up.